Analysis machine, it's time to pay our respects.
Understood. Loading title card.
Dragon Ball Z.
Hey guys, this is D Reaper, and today we're gonna pay tribute to a real OG, Akira Toriyama. I was actually a bit hesitant about making this video. It's hard to find the right things to say when someone passes, and even then, what can you say that hasn't already been said? But with all the love for Akira Toriyama that has been showing up since his passing, it was a fellow small creator that kind of said the words needed for me to commit to making this video. The guy said it would feel wrong for me to not comment on the legacy of someone that made such a big impact on my life personally. I realized I kind of felt the same way. So here we are. Akira Toriyama worked on a lot more projects than just Dragon Ball, and his work had a lot more influence than a lot of people realize. And though I can very much say I enjoyed many of Akira Toriyama's works, none has had a bigger impact on me than Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z inspired me to work hard in the gym during long training sessions. Even to this day, songs like Vegeta Powers Up are still on my workout playlist. I bonded with lifelong friends over our mutual love of Dragon Ball Z. I caused property damage imitating some classic DBZ fights. I stayed up late playing round after round of Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Wearing Dragon Ball Z drip marked the first time I was proud to sport my nerddom, among so many other things. So today, in honor of the late, great Akira Toriyama, I want to share with you a list of my 5 most memorable and impactful moments from Dragon Ball Z, in no particular order. First, I want to start with what's probably on everyone's list, the first time Goku went Super Saiyan. This moment is cemented in anime legend history. Near the end of the most tension-heavy arc in the whole Dragon Ball series, after more Uno reverses than one encounter has any right to have, when it looks like there's truly no hope left, Goku goes beyond and becomes the being of legend, a Super Saiyan. Mountains are split apart, lightning crackles, rocks are pulverized, and here's Goku in this new form, and the hype is off the charts. Frieza was a real menace. If the internet had the same traffic as it does today, this moment would have broken the internet a million times over. A character transformation had never been done quite like this, and it's not hard to see just how much this specific moment impacted entertainment media. Next is going to have to be the conclusion of Gohan vs. Raccoon. The Namek arc was the real deal. If you go back and watch it, you might remember just how tense these episodes were. But it's hard to compare to watching it for the first time, when you really have no idea what's going to happen next. But here's a recap. When the team gets to Namek, they quickly understand that they are way out of their depth. The heaviest hitters are indisposed, and Vegeta, who nearly wiped them all out, is just a regular guy amongst hundreds here. The team is forced into permanent stealth mode, sneaking around the planet and vandalizing the Freedom Force's equipment. Because if they're caught, that's a wrap. No questions, no contests, no do-overs. We get all the confirmation we need when we see the far more powerful Vegeta struggling to hold his own against anyone who's not considered absolute fodder. This forces a very unlikely team-up of Vegeta and the able-bodied Z-Fighters. When Vegeta hears who's on the way, even he admits they're cooked. But their worst-case scenario slaps them in the face when they're forced to face off against the fighters that terrified even Vegeta. The Ginyu Force.
Ginyu!
Joyce! Attack! Aldo!
Raccoon! And together we are...
Toku Sentai! Toku Sentai! Toku Sentai!
The fight begins with no realistic hope of victory, but by the time Vegeta is fighting Raccoon, you dare to hope that maybe, just maybe, our unlikely trio has a chance. But then it's revealed that Vegeta's best efforts were barely more than an annoyance. Vegeta's packed up by Raccoon, and Gohan's forced to tag in. So yeah, things aren't looking good. Though even in spite of this, everyone can see Gohan's incredible fighting spirit. Even though he's getting pummeled, he keeps getting back up because he knows everyone's lives depend on him. And you start to think, last time, he totally dropped the ball, but was able to come through at the very end in a moment of redemption. Maybe, just maybe, this is Gohan's time. Maybe there's a chance that all the talk about Gohan's potential will be realized right here. Then, he's down. That kick was brutal, but not as bad as seeing Gohan broken and twitching. Usually after someone makes a speech like that, something happens, but here we just get knocked back to reality. They don't do a lot of scenes like this these days. In more recent times, a scene like this might be played up for humor, but when I saw this, I really did feel a sense of hopelessness for this trio. And Gohan's final battle cry is still something that's echoed in my friend group to this day. Goku coming back to life for a day during the 25th World Martial Arts Tournament might not be one of the most talked about Dragon Ball Z episodes, but they were some of my absolute favorites. The whole thing was a series of very charming moments, and though the action picking up a little later would lead to some of those aforementioned talked about episodes, the Z fighters just having low stakes fights and interactions is really fun to see. Trunks one-tapping Hercule is priceless. Vegeta seriously planning to punch Goku in the gut to take advantage of him overeating. It's really cool to see how far these two characters have come even early on in this arc, and it's fun to see Vegeta determined to extend their rivalry to their children. All in all, I really dig the vibe of these episodes, and I wouldn't have minded waiting a little longer for the plot kicking up again. After the Namek arc, everyone is still reeling from the hype of the Frieza fight, and the reveal of the Super Saiyan. What could possibly be more epic than that? Enter Trunks. When Frieza arrives on Earth with his father, no less, it looks like all hope is lost as Goku won't make it in time to save them. But instead, this mysterious young man appears and challenges Frieza himself. And it was legendary. You have to understand, at this point in the story, the very idea of there being another Super Saiyan had never even entered anyone's mind. The way Trunks pulls up with his no-nonsense attitude and casually dismantles Frieza, with a sword no less, looking like a proper anime character, was absolutely mind-blowing. Even though Trunks' performance in the anime is somewhat underwhelming after this point, this pull-up alone was epic enough to make Trunks one of my favorite Dragon Ball characters in the entire series. The conclusion of the Cell games was a moment foreshadowed since the Raditz fights in episode 4. Gohan unlocking his true potential and surpassing Goku. As great of a moment as that was, the one I want to highlight is a bittersweet moment afterwards, which is Goku's farewell. According to our community page, a lot of the true believers don't really understand Goku, so I'll take a minute for much needed public service information. Goku has a lot more character depth than a happy-go-lucky goofball that likes to fight. He grows and changes based on his experience, like any good character should. After Goku learns what happens to the world after he dies of the heart virus in the future, it causes him to change as a character. It causes him to wonder in earnest, who's gonna be the defender of the planet when I'm not around? This doesn't come from a place of fear, but an eventual fact. At some point, in some time, he's not gonna be around to defend the Earth. When that time comes, will the Earth be doomed? From that point until the end of the series, meaning the end of Dragon Ball Z, Goku's main focus has been finding someone to carry on his legacy, someone to take the place as the new undisputed champion of Earth once he's gone. This is why, when he entered the hyperbolic time chamber with Gohan, he really only had one goal. He wanted Gohan to surpass him. Once the smoke clears, Goku decides it might be best for the world if he doesn't come back this time. This is a pretty heart-wrenching moment, especially for people who have been following this character for well over a decade. I believe this is about the third time Toriyama tried to end the series before being forced to continue because Dragon Ball Z was so popular. It might not hit the same in future contexts, but seeing it when it first aired was tough, and even viewing this episode again, much later in life, I still get a lot from this episode. All good things eventually come to an end, so it's important to enjoy them while they last, and be willing to accept it when they're gone. And it's because we ourselves will someday come to an end, at least physically, that it's important to consider what kind of legacy we're leaving behind. Are you passing on your genetics through your children? Are you passing on your craft through an apprentice? Are you training a new generation as an educator? Are you immortalizing your ideals by instilling your platitudes in others? Are you touching hearts with the music you write? Are you enriching the lives of others with your kindness? Are you captivating people with your stories? Are you saving lives with your actions? Something I believe that we can all agree on regarding Akira Toriyama's legacy, that he made a major impact with his art. And I am eternally grateful that he shared his art with the world. Memories, emotions, fun conversations, heated debates, riveting tension, nostalgia, and childish wonder to me personally while partaking in his art. Though I never had a chance to say it in person, I'll say it now. Thank you, Akira Toriyama, for sharing your art with us. Your legacy is not one that will soon be forgotten.